A month ago, I made a decision to quit forever. And in this video, mate, I'm going to tell you the 3 things I did to quit over the past 30 days. But did it go well? Did it work? Well, I'm going to talk about that in this video. So I'm going to tell you why I decided to quit, the moment that changed everything for me. I'm going to detail the 3 steps, the 3 techniques I used so that you can implement it for yourself. And I'm going to tell you what my results were, if this actually worked, or was it just yet another time when I committed to quitting and then fell off the wagon. But before I dive into that, mate, I need to show you something. Look at this view from my balcony in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. I feel like Batman right now. Woo-hoo! Jesus Christ. I'm kind of afraid to show you over the balcony because I'm afraid of losing my camera. Anyway, on with the video. So why did I decide to quit finally? Because I've been watching since I was 14. That was my first exposure to content, and ever since then has been such an intrinsic part of just the way I deal with my emotions, how I self-regulate, how I respond to loneliness, feelings of sadness, feelings of anxiety. This stuff has been wiring itself in my brain for so long. And over time, it's kind of like an incongruence, an inauthenticity in me, because I actually help men with their habits. I help men live amazing lives. I help men overcome shit and live lives of freedom and purpose and whatnot. But in the back of my mind, there's always been this part of my life, this habit that calls me, like this voice that says, you can't quit, you're an imposter. Who are you to talk about habits, and who are you to help men with anything? You can't even quit for 30 days. There's always been that voice in the back of my mind, and I've tried to drown it out for ages. And I look at these other men's coaches and self-development gurus online, and I just think, shit, man, these guys can quit anything for a long time. But I can't. Like, I always felt really insufficient and not enough. And I felt like, honestly, sometimes I didn't want to make a video because I was like, God, I'm just an imposter. I'm a fake. I'm a fraud. So, and it's not like I didn't know was a problem. Like 5 years ago, I read the book, Your Brain on by Gary Wilson. And in the book, he talks about a bunch of negative effects, and he even brings in a bunch of studies, right? So there's 3 main problems that can create. One is that it could either exacerbate, or at least it's strongly correlated with depression and anxiety and all kinds of mental health issues. The second thing is that it can be highly addictive. It's a dopaminergically charged activity. So like any activity that fits that category, the capacity for addiction is really high. Any addiction is a form of imprisonment and personal enslavement that keeps you stuck in your habits and keeps you living the best life. So any addictive pattern is corrosive or toxic to your life. So this could be really bad. The third thing is that it can screw with your relationships in some very real fundamental ways. You can go online and just read all kinds of anecdotal accounts of men who can't get a boner. They don't find normal women attractive anymore. They have sexual stamina issues. They can't reach a climax with their partner. It causes them to distance themselves. Sometimes they're in a relationship and they're watching more than they are engaging with their wife or girlfriend. It's horrendous. And the worst thing about it is that society is just like, yeah, porn's fine. Or if you decide to quit, then you're sort of relegated to the fringes of society, or seen as a kind of a weird guy, being a part of these online cults or something, just because you want to quit, which I think is ridiculous. I got tired of feeling like an imposter, jumping on camera to talk to you, to talk to men, and then in the back of my mind, this little voice is saying, you can't quit. You never quitted. This time is going to be different. So there's 3 strategies that I used. Okay, so I planned all this out in advance. These are the 3 strategies that I used, and I'm going to tell you them now because I want you to be able to implement them for yourself if you decide to quit. So step number 1, this is all about laying the foundation, okay, laying the framework, putting the work in first so that you can make things easier on yourself later. The real reason why most people don't quit a habit is because they don't really want to. Deep down, if they get really honest with themselves, they'll admit, I don't actually want to do that. Some guy just told me on YouTube that I should quit, and I'm trying to improve myself, so because this guy said it, I'm going to do it. They haven't found, and neither did I previously, a true, authentic reason that this would improve your life, that emotionally resonates with you, and I hadn't made the full commitment. There's a difference between saying something's a good idea and making a commitment to doing it. So this time, I got clear on my reasons that no one else could tell me on YouTube or anything, my reasons that were true to me, authentic to me, and then I made a commitment. I looked in the mirror, I actually did this, And I was like, I am quitting for 30 days. If it kills me, even if it kills me. That's the power of a commitment. When a man commits, seriously man, life warps itself in service to his commitment, okay? But if he's like, I'm gonna do that, life doesn't help him because he's not made the commitment. He's not all in, okay? So the first strategy is that you absolutely need to go all in. Find your own reasons. Take a journal and a pen out and find your own reasons for quitting. What is doing in your life? How is it serving you? How is it screwing you over? Are you the kind of man in 5 years who wants to be watching? Is that your best version of yourself? Is this what your standards are? Once you've really dived into your reasons, then you need to just commit. You need to commit to 30 days. It sounds simple, but this step is absolutely crucial. So step number 2, do you ever quit a bad habit, or say you're gonna quit a bad habit and then you forget all about it? And then in like 3 days, you're just doing something else and then life takes over. This has always been my problem. When it comes to stuff like matters of self-regulation, like habits and stuff, I'll commit to things, but then I'll just seem to like life gets in the way. I get distracted by stuff and then I completely forget that I'd said I was gonna quit something or whatever. A lot of people have told me I have ADHD or they've suggested it to me, but I've not listened because I just focused on something else and ignored them. This time, what I decided to do was make forgetting an impossibility. I was gonna place reminders all around me, all around my environment that I've made this commitment. And here's one very practical way that I did it. I downloaded an app called Tick Tick, T-I-K. And because it's like a calendar app, right? So it's something you can manage your calendars in, but it also serves as a habit tracker. So I started using this calendar because I need a calendar for my work and my freelancing stuff and all this stuff. I need a calendar. So every time I load my calendar up, there would be the habit tracker there as well. So I would be exposed to it all day anyway, so I couldn't forget. I also did something that was very nifty. I changed my default tab pages on Chrome and my home page to be the habit tracker, my progress. So because I work on my laptop, there's no way that I wasn't going to see a constant reminder of the commitment that I'd made to myself. So multiple times a day I was being reminded, I'm on day 3, I'm on day 4, I'm on day 5. Like I was getting constantly reminded. I even downloaded the app on my phone and I had the habit tracker as, so I don't know if you can see that. No, basically that's it, right? And that's an example. So every time on my home screen, I would load my phone up and I'd be exposed to it. I couldn't escape it even if I wanted to. And strategy number 3 is a powerful distraction. It's not necessarily that's the problem, and it can create its own problems, but it is just one strategy of many that we use to avoid strong emotions. That's all it is. Anxiety, loneliness, feeling lost, feeling a lack of clarity or purpose in our lives, whatever the hell it is, we're just using to distract ourselves from our emotions. I knew this about myself, and I knew that I'd been using porn to soothe negative emotions for an absolutely ridiculously long time, like more than half of my life. So I also knew that if I was going to quit this thing for 30 days, then I knew that I needed to take emotional self-regulation seriously. The ability to regulate your own emotions is an absolute superpower for a man for a variety of reasons. One of which is that he can quit his addictions. He doesn't need addictive behaviors so much. He doesn't need booze, weed, cigarettes, video games. If he can regulate his emotions, the need for those things decreases rapidly. So what I decided to do was get really serious. Now I've had a meditation practice on and off since I was like 15. It comes and goes. But for this 30 days, I made it a religious commitment that every morning I would do 10 to 20 minutes of breath work. And in the evening, I would do 10 to 20 minutes of silent Zen meditation, where I would just sit with myself. In theory, this would make it much easier for me to ride the urges when they came. Pun not intended. But how did it go? What was my journey over the past month? Did it work? Did I fail? Did I relapse? Well, I'll tell you that today is officially day 32 of the No Challenge, and I haven't watched a single image and I haven't read a single line of text. But what changes have I noticed in my actual experience? It's just 30 days, what changes have I noticed? Well, here's where it kind of surprised me. I thought that I'll just quit and I'll not really notice a difference, not until like maybe 90 days or 6 months or whatever. But this actually really surprised me. What I noticed was I'm just able to sit and focus on work for way longer. Now that might be because of the meditation and the breath work as well, but it's still a positive outcome. I've also noticed that if I go for a walk around, then I'm naturally just finding women more attractive again. Like, not like insatiably, but like my mind is noticing this. And I've got to say, man, like there's something so gratifying about that. It's like finding women attractive is one of the most enjoyable aspects of life. It's like you feel this in your body. It's like, oh, that's nice. One unexpected result is that I have more stable energy throughout the day. I don't have these crashes as much as I usually do. And there's also a cool effect. I'm noticing that I'm waking up with morning wood that could cut diamonds. So that's also pretty cool. So those benefits are nice, but that wasn't the reason I started this. The reason I started this was that voice, that critical voice that was telling me I wasn't enough, that I wasn't able to do it, that I had no business talking to people if I couldn't quit. Well, that voice is a little kinder. You see, the inner critic, the critic that I thought I needed to get rid of at the start of this challenge, I realized that he actually had a point. I mean, he was being a dick about it, but he wanted the best for me. The inner critic in me knew that this isn't who I am, this isn't who I could be, I can do better than this. And underlying it, he just wanted the best for me. And by quitting porn for 30 days, he's a lot kinder. He's turned from an inner critic in this particular area to an inner advisor. That voice in my head is a lot quieter. And I think more than anything else, more than anything, any of these other benefits, it was worth it for that alone. A man will never be truly happy until he is free. If you struggle with procrastination and motivation and getting going, then I made this video about a year ago, and it basically breaks down the entire system that you need to get going. If you go through this system, there is basically no way at all that you will still struggle with procrastination at the end of it. So click that video next, and I will see you, mate, in the next video. Peace.